My husband died suddenly, and his delusional best friend is trying to hijack his memorial, told lies about our marriage, and is trying to make herself the widow instead of me. Posted by you/angry widow? I'll try to make this brief. My 28F husband, Jonah, 36M, passed away unexpectedly a month ago from a stroke. I don't want to get specific about that part, it's the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life, and I'm still not sure how I'm ever going to move on. We were married for 5 years, together for 7. For the past 2 years, we've been trying for a baby, but we're just getting to the point of considering IVF when he died. Jonah had a close friend in high school named Marjorie, 33F. Marjorie also ended up going to the same university as he did, and they spent a lot of time together during those college years. Jonah said that he liked Marjorie's company but never felt anything beyond friendship with her, which I totally believe. Jonah dated other women during that period but told me that several times Marjorie hinted that she wanted him to ask her out. She also joked about wanting him to be her plan B in case she didn't meet someone and get married by 30. By the time I started dating Jonah, he had moved a couple of hours away from his hometown, and Marjorie. Despite this, Marjorie immediately began finding excuses to come to our town and hang out, which usually involved her encouraging us to go drinking and then her passing out on the couch at Jonah's apartment. I didn't mind her for the most part, but she had a habit of saying things like, "You know you ruined our marriage pact, haha," and pointing out all the things that she knew about him, like what he took in his coffee, his favorite bands, etc. Over the course of our relationship, and especially after we got married, Jonah definitely put some distance into his relationship with Marjorie. He confided in me that he felt he had outgrown her and that they really had little in common anymore. He stopped responding to her invitations to hang out as often, though he would occasionally call to catch up out of guilt, especially when she would text him or leave messages saying she was so sad he was ignoring her and the like. But now he's gone. I had him cremated, like he wanted. We haven't done the memorial service yet. It was too hard for me to even imagine the first couple of weeks, and I also wanted to give time for some out-of-state people to make travel plans. The memorial is this weekend. However, 2 weeks ago, I received an email from Marjorie, sent to around 60 people, including Jonah's family, saying that she was holding a memorial service for Jonah in the town where they grew up, the day before his memorial here. I was completely blown away, seeing as she hadn't mentioned anything to me or even attempted to call. Along with the details, the email said that she was planning the memorial in light of the fact that no other service had yet been held in his memory, and he deserved to be laid to rest with honor. For the record, she was invited to the memorial I've been planning and knew it was happening. I called her, of course, and told her that while I appreciated her willingness to help with Jonah's goodbye, I was already planning a service for him that would involve all of his family and friends. She immediately went on the defensive and said that she had only started to plan a service when she realized I wasn't willing to do it in a timely manner. I told her that the timing wasn't her choice to make, but that if she wanted to have a memorial of some kind, to please just add on the invitation that his official memorial was going to be held this weekend. She said fine. I sent a message to all of Jonah's invited friends and family to make sure they knew the real service with both of our families was going to be here, and then just washed my hands of the whole thing. This week, I received a message on Facebook from Jonah's cousin, saying that Marjorie, who has apparently blocked me on Facebook, created an event for Jonah's official memorial service, her memorial, and invited everyone she possibly could. I've been getting blown up with emails asking which day the memorial is and where. I'm honestly furious. I don't have the emotional energy to deal with this. I ended up putting a post up on my wall, reiterating the date of his service here and asking people to please share it. Thankfully, I think the older members of the family don't use Facebook or email very often, so most of them haven't been confused, but a lot of people now think that Marjorie's service is the real one. I called Marjorie again, asking her to add an addendum to her event saying that his actual memorial was going to be here. She told me that Jonah would have wanted it this way and that if I couldn't appreciate her efforts, I wasn't invited to say goodbye to Jonah. I told her that was fine, seeing as I'd already said goodbye to Jonah when I held him as he died. She hung up. Apparently, she's now spreading information to her mutual friends with Jonah, saying that he was planning on leaving me because I wasn't able to conceive. She also said that we had approached her to carry a baby for us, all absolute lies. His cousin sent me a screenshot of a text where she said that Jonah always thought we would have the cutest baby together and that Op doesn't understand how much he wants children. I'm at a loss as to what to do. I don't care what she says about me, but she's now tarnishing my husband's memory, especially by saying that he wanted a divorce. Jonah would never have left me, and anyone who knows him at all knows that we were committed to each other above all else. I need to figure out how to tell this woman to FCK off without encouraging her to spread more lies. And I also want to just forget the whole thing and crawl in bed and never get up again. Help me, please. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine the pain you must be in right now. Marjorie sounds completely insane and malicious. If I were in your shoes, I'd be very tempted to go scorched earth on her, but that wouldn't be the most constructive approach here. So here's what I'd do instead. Send an email to all of the guests you've invited to attend the actual memorial service stating, just to reiterate, the service will be held at X location on Y date. Do not mention Marjorie, her lies, or the second service. Contact the funeral home and see what can be done to pull the plug on Marjorie's service. Delete and block this woman on all forms of social media, email, your phone, everywhere. Content yourself with the knowledge that if any of Jonah's and Marjorie's mutual friends have half a brain, they'll understand she's out of her mind or at least being outrageously inappropriate. Update 2 days later. I apologize for not updating sooner, but a lot happened over the last couple of days. Thank you to everyone who offered help and advice. For those who offered monetary assistance, Jonah and I were in a stable financial position. I'm going to be comfortable until I decide to go back to work. Your willingness to help was deeply appreciated, however, and I'm truly bowled over by your kindness. I took the advice of the majority of comments and called the chapel where Marjorie was planning her service. I spoke with the pastor, who immediately told me that he had been trying to get in touch with me regarding the service. Apparently both Jonah and Marjorie had grown up in that church. I am not religious, and neither was Jonah as an adult. My voicemail has been flooded, so it's definitely plausible that I overlooked his call. He immediately expressed how sorry he was to hear of Jonah's loss and said he had received my contact info from Jonah's great aunt, who still attends there. He said he was surprised when Marjorie asked to have a service for Jonah, but she had claimed that Jonah and I were separated and I didn't want to be involved. He had been trying to follow up with me, but obviously, that didn't happen. He was very apologetic and said that we could cancel the service or move forward in any way that felt right to me. He said that he knew the church members would appreciate the service, since many of them remembered Jonah as a boy, but obviously Marjorie would no longer have a role. I agreed that the service could go forward. He called to speak with Marjorie after our conversation and informed her that she was no longer welcome to participate in the organization of the service after her behavior. He wouldn't tell me all that she said, but said she was distraught, and he recommended some mental health/spiritual services to her that he hopes she accepts. She apparently apologized for lying and asked to speak with me, but I declined. I feel bad if she's truly contrite, but I just have too much on my plate right now. We had 2 beautiful services for my husband, first the one at his hometown church, and then the non-religious one that I planned. Everyone who came wanted to honor Jonah, and that's all that really matters. I was told a dozen stories about him that I'd never heard before, and I laughed so hard I cried, then cried some more. My cousin was on the lookout for Marjorie, and I honestly didn't think about her the whole weekend. She turned up for the first service, and then the pastor ended up speaking with her, unbeknownst to me. My cousin says he was sympathetic but firm and told her that her presence there would be inappropriate. Surprisingly, she left without fuss. I'm still not sure the situation is entirely resolved, but I got to lay my husband to rest in the way he deserved, and that's the most important thing to me right now. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I'm glad the pastor is such an awesome, compassionate person, and that you were able to memorialize your husband with people who cared about him. Ops response. I definitely expressed my heartfelt appreciation to him. I tend to be uncomfortable in religious settings, which is why I immediately told him that I'm not religious, but I was really moved when he said, "That part doesn't matter right now. You loved your husband, and there is always a place for love here." I teared up, I admit. Second update 4 months later. I'm not sure if anyone will remember this post, but I thought I would update since it's been a few months. I haven't been checking my inbox, and I'm sort of amazed I remembered the password at all, but I appreciate all of you who sent encouraging messages. It means a great deal to me. It's been around 5 months since Jonah died, and honestly, it still feels like I'm waking up and living the same day over and over again. I'm in therapy, but the feeling of grief has not subsided whatsoever. Everything reminds me of Jonah, and I still feel like half of me is gone. I'm considering moving out of the country, or at least to a different state, but I also feel like a piece of Jonah is here in the house where we lived. Even worse, Marjorie has still not disappeared. I deleted my social media a couple of months ago in an attempt to simplify my life, but my cousin, who also knows Marjorie, let me know that she has been recently posting photos of herself on Facebook, with Jonah. Some were from several years ago, but she was saying things like "I still miss my man every day and I can't wait until Jonah's baby arrives." She is apparently pregnant and claiming that the baby is my husband's. She has also photoshopped his face onto several photos, some on another shirtless male posing semi-suggestively with her. The photoshopping is pretty good, but it's obviously not my husband's body. People have been saying things like, "Congratulations, we know you'll be a great mother to Jonah's child." Nobody I knew, thankfully. It honestly made me feel sick, and I went and laid in bed pretty much all day. I hate that she is getting to me like this, but I can't stand the thought that she's claiming my husband was unfaithful to me, and that people are believing it. One bright note is Marjorie's brother, who also knew Jonah. On one of her recent posts, he commented, "WTF Marjorie? I spoke to Jonah like 2 weeks before he died and he said he was trying for a baby with Op. You guys were just friends. This is effed up and you know it." The post was deleted a couple of hours later. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have the energy to battle with this woman, but I'm infuriated and hurt by this blatantly disrespectful pack of lies that she's spreading. My cousin called her and asked that she remove the photos, but she apparently said that Op can go to hell. She just doesn't want to accept that Jonah wanted a baby with me more, and she couldn't give him one. I'm lost. What can I do about this? It seems like all I can do is sit and watch this crazy woman try to convince Jonah's friends and family that he never loved me. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. This is what you should remember when her delusions get to you, even her own family knows she is crazy. What you and your husband had together doesn't need to be photoshopped and lied about on Facebook, it was real. Every single time that fool has to Photoshop a picture in order to fabricate intimate memories, she is reminded that you are the one who actually got to experience them. You won, and there's not a day that goes by where Marjorie forgets that. Third update 2 weeks later. A lot has happened since my last update. Hopefully, this will be the end of the story. Marjorie's brother became very concerned after speaking to me and apparently questioned Marjorie extensively about her behavior. She continued to claim that she was pregnant with Jonah's baby and that they had had a lengthy affair, but the details didn't add up. The brother knew Jonah pretty well and was generally aware of his work schedule, etc. She said they were meeting at a hotel at lunchtime 3 days a week, but he knew that Jonah came home for lunch with me every day. Stuff like that. He went home late that night to sleep on it. After he went home, Marjorie came over to see me at 3 a.m. She started screaming at me to come outside, saying that I had ruined her relationship with Jonah and how happy they were before me, etc. I called the police and her brother, who both arrived around the same time. She pushed the police officer who tried to ask her what was going on and was immediately arrested. I felt bad for her brother, but he just apologized to me repeatedly. Marjorie yelled expletives and tried to demand special treatment because the police were apparently hurting her baby by keeping her in the car. I gave a statement, and they left. Not exactly sure what happened after, but her brother says she is now under psychiatric evaluation, and is apparently struggling with a mental disorder that he wouldn't name. She has apparently not taken her meds in 2 years. I didn't ask for details, but it seems she is going to get some help. I'm not pressing any sort of charges. Her brother also linked me to his post on social media, where he made it very clear that Marjorie has been having some difficulties, and absolutely none of what she said about Jonah is true. I'm glad this seems to be over, but I've decided I need a fresh start no matter what. I'm looking for a job out of state, and I'll be doing my best to leave my life with Jonah behind. Thank you all for your help and encouragement. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. This is the best update possible. She was a few months shy of stealing a baby from someone's shopping cart. Her delusion had to be shattered, and this was the only way. I hope her being ill actually helps you cope with all of the disturbance she's brought to your life. On a personal note, I lost my partner too. So, naturally, I deeply sympathize with your pain. A lot of people would say that moving doesn't help, and to an extent, that's true. But I get you. I can't set foot in the town we lived in, which is really sad for many reasons. But it is what it is. Moving away from the memories isn't a bad idea. It is hard to heal when you are constantly driving past places that evoke memories. So, good for you on deciding to move. I wish you well with all of this.